What's going on? Social Studies 9. Hope everybody's doing good. Hope you're staying up and with everything that your teachers are sending you, especially social studies, right? So as you know, I'm posting something every day. So log on every day and keep up, and you'll be just fine. This week is going to be mostly some videos and some information. Not a whole lot of work this week, but really stay on top of this because next week's pretty much going to be all work. So you might not get your full 3 or 4 hours this week, but you're going to put in some time next week. But you can't do that unless you know this stuff. So make sure you're paying attention to what's going on and stay on top of things. And as always, you can contact me if you have any questions or concerns. Let's go. Okay, so we are going to be talking about collective rights. We spent last chapter talking about individual rights, and today and for the next couple weeks we're going to be talking about collective rights. Specifically, to what extent has Canada affirmed collective rights? Now, the vast majority are going to go right now, what does affirm mean? Take out your smartphone, ask Siri, figure that out before you go any further. Okay, you need to know what affirmed means, otherwise you're going to be just feeling stupid as we go along. You'll notice on this first slide here, there's a little link there called the Williams video. It's about a 9-minute video that kind of gives you an overview of the first half of this chapter. It's really, really well done. And it just, like I said, I really recommend that you give that a watch before you go any further in this, because it'll give you a really great idea as to what to expect for the first little bit here. So give that a watch and then come back to me. All right, let's go here. So today, the only little bit of work you're going to get this week is a terms handout. That's already on the Google Classroom for today, so make sure you do that when we're done today. It's about 15-20 terms you need to know. So a couple specific ones that I wanted to go over with you, okay? So the idea of Aboriginal rights. Kind of a touchy subject for some people, but very, very important. Aboriginal rights, what the term actually means, it's a custom, a practice, or a tradition that characterizes the culture of an Aboriginal group. So whether it be here, whether it be in Australia, whether it be in South America, or wherever, doesn't matter, Aboriginal group. This group had to exist prior to the contact with Europeans, is most often associated with a territorial occupation since that period. Moreover, the courts have ruled that an Aboriginal nation present on a territory when the Europeans arrived, and that has continued to frequent the territory ever since, has specific rights on that territory known as Aboriginal rights. Okay, so it still applies here, right? Aboriginals were here before Europeans, therefore they have certain rights over the territory, right? Whenever we get together as a group here at school, we do that that little thank you. I can't remember exactly what it's called because I'm a terrible person right now, but we do that thank you to the people that were here before us, specifically the Aboriginals that started this land and were here for hundreds of years and before we ever came. Okay. Second thing we're going to talk about today is the idea of treaty rights. These are special rights to lands and entitlements that First Nations people legally have as a result of treaties signed with the Queen and the Canadian government. Rights that are protected under Section 35 of the Constitution. We talked about the Constitution last chapter. And that's what I think a lot of people don't quite understand. They're not getting anything for free. They're not getting anything that anyone else hasn't get. Aboriginal people have signed a treaty, a contract, right? If you sign a contract, you expect to get what you signed for, right? If you're an NHL player, and you sign a contract, you expect to get the money that you signed for on that contract. You expect to get all the things that you signed for and you agreed to. It's the same thing with treaties here. They have signed deals with the Queen, with the Canadian government, and they expect to get what they're owed under that contract. So, real quick here, let's just think about some things, okay? What are collective rights? You need to have an idea as to what that is before the end of this chapter. Before the end of the chapter, you need to know what groups in Canada are recognized in the Charter as having collective rights. We're going to talk about 3 specific groups. We're going to talk about Aboriginal groups, we're going to talk about Francophones, and we're going to talk about Métis. Why is Canada the only country in the world that has collective rights for specific groups set out in its Constitution? Other countries have collective rights, but we're the only ones that have put it right into our Constitution. And then why are collective rights important to all Canadians? So at the end of this chapter, you should be able to come back and look at this slide right here and be able to answer all of these questions. So that's it for today. Like I said, pretty quick. Make sure you do those handouts or that term sheet. Get that clear. cleared up today because you're going to want to know those things as we move on. And then, like I said, this whole week is pretty much all videos and just information. Stay on top of that stuff. I'll be putting something out every day. And then next week you got have a lot of work to do. Okay, so take care. Have a great day.